We won a production design award for our short film Birdcage, and as the head of department for production design on that film, I want to tell you a little bit more about the process of bringing the post-apocalyptic world of Birdcage to life.
We did it!
From the beginning, our director Alicia and her co-writer Nick had a really wonderful vision for what this universe and what this world would be like, and what the setting would be that our characters would be surviving in. So we started off by doing a lot of world building in fleshing out the universe that these characters lived in and the motivations and the reasons that would then influence a lot of the design choices later down the line. We started off by coming up with a design for the Sweep, these marauding robots that stalk the lands these characters are surviving in. And we went through several iterations inspired by different universes like Warhammer, Fallout, and the War of the Worlds tripods, which left us with these tripod designs that were turned into propaganda posters to feature in the background of the film, as well as in the notebooks of the characters. Alongside this, I began working on the construction plans for the shack that the characters would live in. Our director and our DP, Amelia, had a vision of sunlight bursting through the cracks of this wooden shack to really give it that handmade feel. And that meant that we couldn't use solid flats, we had to build the whole thing by hand. Which meant that for about 2 months, I appropriated about 40 wood pallets from my local area, deconstructed half of them to board up the other half, which I then turned into this wooden shack, supported by stilts on the back to make sure they didn't fall over onto our actors, and they're decorated with shelves, bedding, a floor, carpets, and other elements that made it really feel lived in. Beside this, our other production designer, Pearl, was working really hard on bringing a lot of the uniforms and the clothing to life for these characters, which we then roughed up and weathered using elements like real dirt, paint, and a cheese grater to weather a lot of the edges to make it look like it had been surviving the apocalypse for years. And I put together some of the more sci-fi elements, including the little shield generators our characters would wear on their chest that had to be good looking because they would be featured on some really tight close-ups throughout the film. At the end of it, we were left with sets, clothing, tools and props that for our actors to interact with that would really make all of this feel fleshed out and lived in, so that they could get into this mind space of a character who has been surviving the apocalypse for years. I'm really thankful with how everything turned out, and I think it translated wonderfully, immersively onto the screen. For a lot of that hard work, I'm really glad to see the recognition in getting a production design award from the Royal Television Society Student Filmmaking Awards for the production design. And so I wanted to say thank you to Alicia and to Nick for creating such a vibrant and interesting world to bring to life on screen. And thank you to Pearl for being invaluable in helping bring a lot of these elements to life.